Have you ever been in a situation where you're always the one that's calling, you're always the one that's texting, you're always the one that's basically putting in more effort than the other party? And again, it's not being reciprocated. It gets to a point where you kind of have to ask yourself the hard question: does this person actually want to be friends with me? Do I still want to put in effort where I'm not seeing any return of investment? Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the first episode of Nothing But the Truth in Love. I'm so excited. My name is Vera Kamara, and I am the friend that will keep it 100% real with you and tell you the truth in love. So today's podcast episode is: why do friendship breakups hit so much harder than relationship breakups? Literally, somebody just said, when they heard that. Oh my gosh. It's often the friendships where it's like you had such a strong bond with them, a strong connection with them. That person just got you, where it's like suddenly the friendship is over and it hits hard. And it's something that we don't often talk about a lot. So today we're gonna dive into that. Even as I've just mentioned this line, you're literally thinking about somebody in your life. Ooh, it's prophetic. No. So why do the breakups hurt in the first place? I know I just spoke about it previously, but sometimes there's no closure. At least with like a relationship, when you break up, often, not all the time, often there is closure. Like there's a reason as to why it happened. But with some breakups, sometimes it was like there was a distance. And one thing that I want to say is, with every relationship, with every friendship rather, if the friendship no longer is, often it's either two reasons. Either both parties decided consciously or subconsciously, unconsciously, not to make an effort to keep that communication going, or one party kept it going and the other person was not reciprocating that same energy. One thing that my grandma's always taught me is that for any type of relationship, whether it be friendship or whatever, the best way for it to keep on going is communication. Communicate. That distance happened mainly because there was just silence all of a sudden. And I think the reason why it's so deep is because that friend knew everything about you. Let's be real, your partner is not going to know everything about you that a friend would know. Even when it comes to the wedding day with your bridesmaids have known you longer than your spouse has known you most of the time. They've been there a lot longer. There are times where there are certain things, certain moments that you just can't express with your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, that your friend would get. Like, especially on days where you've had arguments with your partner. I say your partner, I mean, I could say spouse, but especially on the days where you've had arguments with them, you need a friend. And this is why we always say, whenever you go into a relationship, keep your friends. I'm diving into relationships now. If you're in a relationship with someone and now suddenly you're losing friends, there is a problem. You need your friends, because you're not always going to be joined to the hip with your partner. There are situations that only your friends, your girlfriends, or your man them are gonna get, that your partner is not going to understand. So when that breakup happens in that friendship, it is very devastating, because now it's almost like you've lost a part of you. Friends will understand you in ways that relationships just don't cut it. I'm sorry, I said it. And because this isn't spoken about a lot, there aren't that much ways that people know how to overcome and to heal from that broken relationship. Let me tell you what makes it even harder. It's the fact that you see them on social media, but they're not in your life anymore. And it even hurts more when you were all part of the same friendship group. Maybe you and that person are distant. Maybe it's civil, who knows? But now it's like, oh, she just got married. Oh, this one's just gone on holiday with so-and-so, but you're no longer in their life. Let's be real, you have to admit to yourself that it does hurt, and it only hurts because you cared about the person, because of that deep connection that you had with them. It's okay to admit it, you know, it's actually okay. Instagram, it doesn't do it to me anymore, but Instagram sometimes does this thing where it gives you a notification, oh, so-and-so is just posted on their story for the first time in a long time. I don't care. Like, when you haven't healed from that, it's just having those reminders. It's not nice, right? Right? You get what I'm saying? I want to dive into why do those friendships end in the first place? I know we've already talked about it before, but let's just dive into that. Did you know that it's possible to outgrow your friendship group? And sometimes that can be the reason for why that friendship again ended. Maybe you grew apart. Maybe you realized that you know what you want in life and maybe they wanted something different. And that's not to say that the disconnect was wrong. It's just that you've realized that you're going on different paths and your paths aren't aligned. You know, there's a saying that birds of a feather flock together. In this case, you and that bird didn't flock together anymore. I had to go to this tree, you have to go to this tree, and that is okay. I think when friendship breakups happen, sometimes people can feel guilt. I know for some of you, it could be betrayal, it could be broken trust, it could be resentment. It could be that maybe you were, again, going back to the whole paths changing, it could be that you were doing good and your friend did not like it. Now, toxic friendships, guys, toxic friendships, you know, your friendship with someone is tested when one of you starts doing better. You have to see how the other person reacts to your prosperity. Are they still going to be okay with that? Are they happy for you? And it even hurts when maybe you both wanted the same thing, but now somebody's got it first. I'm telling you, it will test you, but you have to understand that God's timing is different for everybody else. Maybe your friend's season of getting that marriage is your season of you need to get to know yourself. Vice versa. You need to understand that everybody's season is different. Just because you're in the same friendship group, just because you're friends, it does not mean that what's happened for them is supposed to happen for you at that time. In some cases, the reason why the friendship ended is because it was a one-sided friendship. Oh my gosh, I've been there before. Have you ever been in a situation where you're always the one that's calling, you're always the one that's texting, you're always the one that's basically putting in more effort than the other party? And again, it's not being reciprocated. It gets to a point where you kind of have to ask yourself the hard question: does this person actually want to be friends with me? Do I still want to put in effort where I'm not seeing any return of investment? And that investment is your time, it's your love, it's your generosity. If it's not being given back to you, I'm sorry. I'm a Christian, right? I'm a believer. I believe in giving people, like Jesus said, 77 times 7 chances. But it gets to a time, it gets to a point where you have to cut it off. And it doesn't even have to be in bitterness. It does hurt. You have to be able to admit when things hurt. It does hurt when it's not being reciprocated, but somebody else will appreciate that love. And that's just the way of life. There are some harsh realities in this life. There are some realities that once you accept it, it will be so much more easier to move on and continue, guys. There is a responsibility that everyone needs to take in their friendships. Now, let's talk about responsibility in friendships. Guys, everybody has a responsibility. Do you know what the word responsibility means? It means that there is an ability that you need to respond to. And the only reason why you can respond to that is because you are able to respond to that. Oh, we just learned something new. But in the same way that relationships require effort, every single time you see a good relationship and you're like, oh my gosh, it looks so amazing, it looks so nice, you need to understand that those two people, they put in effort to understand one another, to understand each other's love languages. Guys, even in friendships, there are love languages. Understand what your friend's love language is. You can't just love people in the way that you want to be loved. One thing you need to realize in this life is that you need to be taught how to love someone, and you need to teach people how to love you. So don't just assume that the friendship is going to, be smooth sailing. No, you need to be putting in effort. I can't even lie. Some people are going to think it's not that deep. Baby, it's that deep. When I look at my healthy friendships now, the friendships that I have now, I'm so grateful to God for the people that He's placed in my life. The friendships that I have right now, they are so supportive. They're so honest. There are times where you don't want people to give you advice. You just want them to be present. Just be present. Just be there. And those are the type of friendships that you need as well. It's not every day fix it. Sometimes just let me release. But you need to understand that it takes effort. It takes sitting down. It takes talking. You guys that like to avoid conflict, I'm sorry, let today be the last day. And I know it can be so uncomfortable. I used to be that type of person as well, where I don't want to open up. I don't want to talk about conflict. I don't like clashing with people. But it gets to a point where you suppress. And then one day it comes out bursting out. And then the person is like, whoa, where did all this come from? It's been there. It just wasn't spoken about. If you want a healthy friendship, you need to be able to talk. You need to be able to communicate. Get your friend to understand you, and also be willing to understand your friend. Compromise is also needed. I am dropping gems. Guys, we are having healthy friendships in our adulthood, okay? It's possible. Check in on the friend that's always checking in on other people as well. That friend that is the strong friend, check in on your strong friends, because they might be strong for you, but in their moment, in their secret place, in their moments of weakness, they are not strong. They're just trying to show up and be consistent for you. So check in on your strong friends, please. Did you know there is such a thing called passive ghosting in friendships as well? That means that you're just not showing up. Now, this isn't to say that there is pressure. No, it's nice when friendships are very smooth sailing. Passive ghosting is like you're just not around anymore. Again, communication. Maybe I should just call this communication series or something. I don't know. I have a few friends. I have two friends, one called Grace and one called Annabelle. And with these two friends, if we don't like something, these are separate friendships. If we don't like something that the other person's done, if I've done something to offend them, they will tell me. Vice versa, if they've done something to offend me, I will tell them. And sometimes it is hard to talk about these things, but I've seen that if we're both mature enough to handle, accepting when we're wrong, then it's gonna work. There is nothing more painful than being around someone who cannot accept that they are wrong. Oh my gosh, you need humility. Oh my days. The humility in friendships are also so important. Because if you can't accept when you're wrong, then you're always going to think you're right. And now you're probably going to have a God complex. And that's how narcissism starts. But we're not going to talk about that in this episode. If you want me to talk about that, you need to drop it in the comments, because guys, as for narcissism, we can go on for days. When I say you need to communicate how you feel, just communicate in general. It's not about blaming your friend. It's about taking responsibility. Again, it's an ability that you can respond to, right? Let's talk about how do we heal when the friendship has broken down, because that's the bit that's not spoken about enough. I think first things first, you need to validate your feelings. You need to understand that it is okay to grieve that friendship. If you are one of those people, right? And again, preaching to the choir, also talking to myself sometimes. If you are one of those people that you're just, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. That's a coping mechanism. You just don't care enough. You're acting like you don't care, but deep down you do care. And that's the only reason why you're trying to brush it off. But then when you're alone, if you find yourself thinking about it, you probably do care about it. Just saying, you probably do care about it. It's more than you think you do. And again, this is the importance of allowing yourself to grieve the loss of it. Like, it wasn't just a passing friend. No, this is someone that was in your life. This is someone that even your family knew about. This is someone that there were times that even when your family didn't understand you, he or she was there for you. As I'm talking, you are thinking about someone right now. It's real. This stuff is real. Sometimes you're not going to get closure from him or her as to why it ended. And it is possible to get closure even without talking to the person. It is hard. I've been there before where my relationship that was going towards marriage ended. And I say this with a healed heart, by the way. It's all love, it's all blessed. I had to get closure without talking to the person. The peace that I had when I got the closure, I'm telling you, life has been so great, I can't even lie. How do you get closure? You need to understand why it happened. It might be the case that, again, maybe you need to take responsibility for where you went wrong. But again, if you are one of those people that you're taking responsibility for things that aren't even your responsibility to take responsibility for, if that made sense, then you also need to try and understand your body that you just lost. Understand them in the sense that we're not validating maybe the wrong things that they did, but hurt people, right? So it's like a maths equation. If you put two hurt people together, do you think that it's going to come up positive if they haven't healed, right? If they're not working towards healing, keyword, if they're not working towards healing? No. So in the same way that you need to break it down, kind of understand, why did he behave in that way? Why did she behave in that way that led to this end? It will help you find the closure that you are looking for. And look, if you need to mute him or her on social media, do it. Do it. I've had to do that a few times in my life. And then once I healed, everything was fine. But if you need to mute the person, if you need to unfollow, do it. Again, it's for your own sanity. But do it in the sense that not only that you're trying to move on, but you're also trying to heal. This is part of the healing process, okay? It's important. Out of sight, out of mind. If they are constantly popping up, because you have to remember as well, because you were friends, they're always going to be the first person that the algorithm will put on your homepage. Now we're talking about social media. I don't want to even get into my social media bag right now, but that's how the algorithm works. The more that you're interacting with somebody's posts, stories, the more it's going to push them up to the top. So you might need to unfollow, babe. You might need to mute them. You might need to do that. You've got to do what you have to do in order to get to a place of settlement, closure, and peace so you can move on. Now, I don't know if you believe in journaling, but I found that journaling does hurt. You know, the Bible talks about writing down the vision and making it plain. You have to get things out of you. You have to write it down. If you don't write it down, you're keeping it in. It's the same way about talking. A lot of people look at talking or going to therapy as, what's the point? Like, it's not going to help. That's why the Bible talks about confessing your sins to one another that you might be healed, so you can pray for one another. Talking about things, again, it's getting it out of you. You have no idea how much the body stores trauma, and trauma doesn't have to be something that shocks you. It could be something that hurts. It's traumatic to your body. Someone leaving your life, having someone that was very consistent in your life and is now no longer consistent in your life, that can come as a shock, and that can be a type of trauma. So you might need to write it down, write about how you feel. Trust me, you will feel a lot better. I used to look at journaling as something that was weird, but I love it now. You might even have to cry. If you need to cry, cry. If you need onions, cry. Whatever helps you process it, babes, do it. Apart from drugs, we don't do drugs. Now, here's a bit that a lot of people also struggle to realize. Not all friendships are forever. That's painful, man. That's so painful. But it's true, not all friendships are forever. Unfortunately, some people are in your life for a season. Guys, I've had girls in my life that I was like, this one is gonna be my bridesmaid. They're no longer here anymore. But again, it's not in the sense of I'm angry or bitter about it. I've just had to come to that terms. I've had to come to terms with that unfortunately, you can be so cool with someone and that person was only supposed to be in your life for summer and autumn. And just because the friendship didn't last for long, it doesn't mean that it was a failed friendship. It just means that it served its purpose. It served its purpose in that season. You might have served your purpose, in that season as well, for him or her. It hurts, it really does hurt, because ideally we want stability and we want lifelong. Unless you're someone that's very good at cutting people off. Again, that used to be me, but we can talk about that again in another episode. Drop it in the comments if you want me to talk about that. Have you ever gone through a friendship breakup? If you're still listening, then you probably have. What did you do to heal? Are you still healing? I think you need to drop it in the comments. And the reason why I say that is not just for the sake of me, but I've noticed that when I go through comments, I see things that I can relate to. You might have gone through something, you might have healed from something, overcome something that someone currently who's watching this or listening to this is going through, and seeing your comments could be their breakthrough. Hey, we're all useful here. It's a no judgment zone. It's free for everyone to speak and, you know, just feed into each other. So now I just want to draw this to an end. So breakups, they teach us how to value ourselves, what we like and what we don't like. Again, every friendship breakup or every relationship breakup, it is a lesson. It teaches you more about you. It tells you what your deal breakers are, and it also shows you about yourself. Letting go of that person does not mean that you failed them, or it doesn't mean that you failed. Again, it probably was just for a limited time only. Guys, thank you so much for listening or watching the first episode of Nothing But the Truth in Love, the podcast. If this spoke to you, it spoke to your heart, please do comment, do share it to your friends, share it to someone that needs to hear it, share it to someone that you were just talking to about this yesterday, like as well, and also subscribe, because baby, we are here to stay and I'm so excited. The next episode is about female friendships. This is not a podcast about friendships, but this is what the Lord laid on my heart. All that's left to say is keep showing up for the people that show up for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.